We are talking women's soccer here on the campus of UNC Charlotte. Ryan Rose with you. Charlotte 49ers women's soccer. And that, of course, means we've brought in John Cullen, who's the head coach of the women's program, a proud graduate of Charlotte. Not going to say when, because he's about my age, so we'll just keep it at he's a proud alum. And he's brought two of his seniors, Whitney, Bryant, and Ashley Roberto, have come in to kind of hang out with us and talk about this season upcoming. And Coach, last year did not lose a conference match during the regular season, but because it's so tight at the top of your league, ended up with a number 2 seed, and craziness happens when you get to the tournament when it gets so tight at the top, and then it's so hard to get into the NCAA tournament. Only one team out of the league got to go. Talk about how tough it is in this league to finish off and to get the goals met that you set for yourself.
Well, it's definitely an improving league. There's no doubt about it. As we talked previously, when you think about the league, I think 1 through 8 on legitimate every weekend has a chance to move up in the standings and the rankings, and I think that's improving the strength of our schedule. That's improving the strength of our conference, and you know, I think you can't afford one blip during the regular season, and just one slip up here can cost you the entire season. So we know every time we go out, we got to treat it as a championship level game.
Now, one thing that has kind of been a trademark of Charlotte women's soccer around here has been stinginess. You guys are very stingy, which is why I'm glad you brought a couple of defenders. This team had 6 shutouts in a row last year. Talk about selfish. You guys do not give up anything. 37, I went back and looked, 37 shutouts since you two have been on campus. Talk about how important it is in this league, Whitney, when you get into one of those 1-0 matches when it might be tight late in the game, and you guys know that you can't give up anything back there because goals are at a premium a lot of times.
Absolutely. We take pride in not having any goals scored against us. That's one of our main goals for the whole entire season. And if we get 2 goals scored against us, that can be the difference between getting number 1 and number 2 spots. So we can't let anything get in the goal. Now,
Ashley, you obviously have started quite a few matches last year and were a part of a lot of these shutouts. Is it gratifying to get, you know, what were you guys thinking, 4th match, 5th match in a row? Gosh, we look back, we haven't given up anything. What are we doing here? How are teams not able to get past you guys?
I mean, we don't really try to look back at, you know, what we've done. We keep trying to look forward and take one game at a time. I know we spend a lot of time working with the back 4, especially after practice, before practice, you know, working on ballet, the simple stuff. I mean, really, it's just the basics. It's just taking care of details.
Now, you've got a couple of upperclassmen there in the back, and you got a lot of returners on this team, so a lot of experience. That's got to make your job as a coach a little bit easier, but more time, I would guess, refining rather than teaching the system that you want to teach. What's it like to come in with so many returning players?
Like you said, it should make my job a lot easier this year. You know, we've got 11 seniors, and I look across the board, and they all bring different qualities to our team, whether it's athleticism, it's bite, it's poise, it's composure, it's just you know, calmness. And as a coaching staff, we just look at our team as an extension of us. It's almost like we should be good enough and we're mature enough now to just step out in the field and play. And we'll have little obstacles and adversities to overcome, but we've got great leaders, we've got great seniors, and it's going to be a lot easier to just refer to them and say, let's get through this as a team, let's get through this as a group. And you know, every day we step out in the field, you can see just the confidence level amongst your team, and that transcends down to the younger players. And they look at our older players and feel, hey, you know, we've got leaders to take us forward, and that's the example we need.
You do have a lot of seniors returning, but I want to look at the schedule a little bit. Kind of a funkier schedule with the way the coaches have voted on changing the number of opponents you play. You've got one trip particular where you're gone for 25 days. We don't see you play for a stretch of nearly a month before you come home for some home cooking, as it were. That's right. I know it's important with the way you guys were 5-0 at home in league play last year. What's that going to be like, balancing that big of a road trip, but then getting some home games later? It's kind of weird as opposed to the way it has been.
Well, I like the road trips, actually. I think it makes your team grow stronger on the road. You rely upon each other more. When you're at home, you got that daily training and you got that daily interaction, but when you're on the road, you're constantly around each other and you're constantly feeding off each other, and that bond gets stronger and stronger. And I think a quality team needs to be able to go on the road and handle those challenges in front of them. Obviously, coming back then towards the latter part of the season at home, we hope to finish strong and be in a great position at the end of the year to look back at our record and saying we've taken care of business.
Now, for you two especially, some of the cities you're going to have to play in aren't the nicest when it gets to October, November. You play in some cold weather cities. It's probably going to be nice to be home for a good bit of October. When it starts to get chillier, you can have some of that home cooking advantage with the weather down here. What do you think about that, Whitney?
Well, speaking of the fact that I'm from the South, I kind of prefer to be in the South. But, I mean, you just have to deal with it. I'll get the Under Armour gloves and ready to rock and roll.
Except for the tournament, which is going to be almost as far north as you can play soccer in November up in Rhode Island. Any thoughts about that as we think about the late parts of the season, actually playing soccer outside in Rhode Island?
I mean, I don't mind the weather. The only thing that would bother me would be the field conditions, like whether, you know, if they don't have turf and if it's kind of a crappy field, you just kind of have to deal with it and play to your advantages. Don't think about the bad things. Just kind of go with what the team feels.
Ladies, thank you very much for coming in and taking a few minutes with us. Coach, good luck this season, best of health, and we wish all of you guys a great season. Send you out in style, you seniors. Let's go out and get one more title before you're done. That's going to do it for our women's soccer show. That's head coach John Cullen and a couple of senior defenders, Whitney, Bryant, and Ashley Roberto. I'm Ryan Rose. Thanks for joining us. We are going to go out with their home schedule. We expect to see you out at Transamerica Field this season. We will be right back.